Today we have a video on steps to buy a car privately. So when you're buying a car privately, how to buy it, what are the steps? So step number 1 is R, 2 is S, 3 is I, 4 is P, 5 is T. You can guess the rest of it, but make sure you watch the video till the end. It's a great video. If you're buying a car privately, these steps can save you thousands and thousands of dollars. Perfect weather for coffee. It's cloudy, it's a little cooler. Great weather for coffee. You can grab your coffee and get ready for this video. This video you're gonna love.
Oh my God, what a brilliant idea!
All right, so as I said, we have some steps. So first one, any guesses? Well, let me help you. So step number 1, research. So research means do your research when you're looking for a car. You can compare some platforms like, Auto Trader, Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist. Those are the platforms. That's where you can look for the car that you're looking for, compared. You can see the prices. You can compare with a dealership versus private too. So that's the first step. Do your research, do your homework before you go and see the car. Make sure you're aware about the prices. Make sure when you're comparing it, you check kilometers, years, accidents, things like that. As much as information you can get in this step, because this is gonna set you up to narrow down to the 2 or 3 cars you're gonna see in your next step. Step number 1, research. All right, who's ready for step number 2? I wrote S. Now I have to think, what's that S for? So research, what was that for?
You serious?
Yes. Okay, we got it. Yes. Man, I think I'm getting old, but that's okay. I forget too, just like everybody else. It's okay. So before I forget again, S is for see the car. That's our step number 2. So step number 2, you're gonna go, remember we narrowed down 2 or 3 cars after our research. We're gonna go see these cars in person, test drive them, feel them, check for any kind of damages, dings, door dings, this and that. Visual inspection, test drive it, see how you feel about the car, see how the tires are, see how the brakes when you test driving, how they feel. So things like that. You're gonna see how the color is, basically overall condition of the car. When you go, I'm sure you've done this before as well. If you haven't done it, that's fine. It's still a step that you're gonna do. You're gonna see the car, and whatever you can see from your eyes, you're gonna see it, notice it, things like that. And that's gonna set you up for step number 3. So, I remember this time. Easy one. So step number 3, any guesses? I'm gonna write it. And 1 capital, 1 no capital, this one capital. If you see any spelling mistakes, we welcome all sorts of learning. Please put it in comments. We will improve. So third step, inspection. So this step, most of the time, is optional for you as a buyer or for the seller. If you're knowledgeable enough, you can do this inspection yourself. Somebody like me who just love to drive the car, don't know too much about the car, engine, transmission, brakes, this and that, I would definitely highly recommend for people like me who are not mechanically that inclined about the cars, who loves driving it but not mechanically inclined, make sure when you're buying it private, do a third-party inspection. This should be your step number 3. Once you like the car, as we talked in our second step, after seeing the car, we like the car, make sure include this step if you're not mechanically inclined. Either way, you should sometime, even when you know about the cars a little bit, there are some things that mechanics can check in their inspection. They can put in the hoist, they can see underneath, and all sorts of stuff. So that's our third step, inspection. Make sure you choose a third-party inspection, Canadian Tire, many certified shops that can do this inspection for you. You just need to phone them, say I want to just get pre-purchase inspection, book. You will book it, you'll tell the seller, hey, I'm getting this inspection done, and seller should be okay with it, and you get this inspection done, and then you get that report that tells you what's good with the car, what's bad with the car, and then you can use that to your advantage if you're buying it privately. If it needs $1,000 off work, you can talk to the seller. Can you give me a discount of $1,000 or whatever the number may be? Or car might just come out perfect. You may not need to do anything. Then you have peace of mind. You're spending your 10, 20, 30,000 on something good. So that's our step number 3. Nothing like a black coffee.
1 hour later.
Step number 4, any guesses? So once you have done your inspection, if the inspection came out good and buyer and seller agrees with the inspection and everything looks good and you decided you're gonna buy the car, your step number 4 is payment. You have to pay for that car that you're buying. Pretty obvious step, but it's good to know, right? You can choose different methods. That's again an optional step. If I was you, I would choose a certified bank draft. That way you have a proof as a buyer that you're paying this amount, and seller is secure as well. They can take it to their bank because it's a certified bank draft. They feel safe as well that this is like almost like a cash, and it's secure. And so I feel this is probably the best method for the payment is certified bank draft. You go to your bank, you tell your bank teller that I'm buying this car, I need a certified bank draft for this amount. And then best way to do it, you can go with the seller. You as a buyer, you can go with the seller and you can go to their bank and deposit this if they like. If they trust your draft, that's fine. But if they like, they can take it to their bank. You guys both can go together. It's important, and deposit that draft. So sellers feel safe. You paid, and they'll get a receipt. You can get a copy of receipt if you want. But anyhow. That's our step number 4, payment. You can use cash. Many other methods. I pick the one that I like, the way I do it. But again, as I said, it's optional. Certified bank draft is probably the best and safest way. If you see any other way is safer, please let us know too. So that's our step number 4. All right, any guesses for step number 5? Rio, do you have any guesses? So step number 5, good step, important step. So transfer ownership. Once the payment's made, you can go to the nearest ICBC office. In BC, I'm talking about. British Columbia, we have ICBC for insurance, so you can go to the nearest ICBC office and do the transfer of ownership. If you're not familiar, if you're familiar, great. If buyer and seller agrees, they can just sign, it's not a necessary that you go to the office, but I would highly recommend in private buying or selling, you should go to the ICBC for the transfer of ownership. That's the safest way to do it. Go to the nearest ICBC office for the transfer of ownership. The seller will have their insurance papers and maybe the transfer form, or you can get the transfer form at the ICBC office as well. If seller takes their insurance and you go to the ICBC, they can help you out with the transfer form. They can fill it out and they'll tell you what paperwork is required from the seller and then whatever requires from the buyer. So that's your 5th step. Transfer of ownership. Make sure you go to the nearest insurance office and do the transfer of ownership. Until then, you're not an owner yet. If you're buying it privately, if you don't do this step and have made the payment, you're still not the owner. You have to go to the insurance office to transfer the ownership. So make sure, very important step, you do that one. Step number 5. Last but not least, this is a big step. Super great step as well. Can anybody guess? I can't tell you. I'm gonna write it down, then you'll see it. All right, last but not least, drive your new car. Congratulations, you just bought a new car. So that's our step 6. You drive the car, enjoy. Hopefully everything works out. We're always here to help. If any question, any concern, you can always reach out to us. Thank you for watching the video. I know it's a little longer. If you're still watching, we appreciate it. Thank you.